also I was getting into graffiti, like tagging and stuff like that. So like I had remember buying like graffiti videos and stuff like that. And I would see b-boying in the graffiti videos and immediately like I just would start to try to imitate it. You know what I mean? Like I seen them do head spins, some footwork.
So would you? So you know, I've interviewed a couple guys who have a like an abstract style. Like I talked to Raw Skeleton. I talked
Yeah.
to a guy named Rock Lobster out of he's from Louisiana, but he lives in New Jersey. And
Okay.
would you consider yourself like your lineage to come also from that abstract movement, or would you say no? And if yes, do you think you like evolved it, kind of like a thesis did?
Um, yeah, I think so. Like, I think we came from a lineage of that abstract stuff. You know, I think we're a
Hmm.
part of that journey. You know, like we didn't take it. Like we had taken, you know, someone like Cujo and seeing that, you know, he's just holding planges and just doing this, and you know, and it got like my boy Chris to master how to do a hand balance thing. You know, and he was like he was one of the first guys doing that I had seen too. But it came from concepts that these other guys had brought in, you know, and so definitely. And there was like a good period, the first like Knuckleheads or like Knucklehead Zoo guys that we started entering together, and we were super young with like tank tops on and the puffy hair, you know, like all those guys. We would just focus on all that, like the transfers and just doing different kind of moves, you know. So
Hmm.
I think that kind of like we were one of the first, you know, ones to be like, you know, because we used to say it back then. It was one of our sayings. We used to be like, "Fuck foundation," you know. It was like our way to rebel, right?
Right. And do you not to cut you off, but do you think that attitude stems from the fact that that you were shunned, like what you were describing earlier in the chat rooms, like oh they're just twitching, so eventually you develop a hardened attitude, like well fuck it then, let's rock with what we doing.
It's exactly what happened. Like we probably wouldn't have gone so strongly on just that, you know, because we didn't have that many moves anyway. So,
Mm.
you know, we were still learning a lot of moves. But I think when we got that kind of feedback, it just made us want to rebel, and it made us want to do it more and more and more. And then we started saying that at Foundation. And I remember like, you know, some of the guys too that would roll kind of like meet up with us, and we would say that, they would be like, oh man, you can't say that. And we were just adamant about it. So I would kind of, even though like by that time I had good footwork, you know what I mean, but I just wouldn't use it, you know what I mean.
Wow.
Like, and it was at the time, like if like I look back at it and it was like, oh my god, when I watched my breaking, I'm like, dude, like I was just not using all this stuff just because for this certain reason. But all in all, I think it pushed us to get more creative with what we were doing. And yeah, so I think it's definitely part of the lineage. I know people have said to me before, because you know maybe they only been breaking for like 7 years or 5 years, and then they're like, "Oh, are you the creator of this style?" I'm like, "No, man, I'm just a part of it, and I didn't quit breaking." You know what I'm saying? And I didn't like stop using those moves because I had done them for so long, and I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep this going." It's really part of me, you know.
Right. Dope, man. So who else would you put in that lineage? Because like you were saying, you didn't create it, you just fall into that lineage and you kept doing it. Who are some of the people that also developed that style that either maybe didn't continue with it or didn't get as big with it,
Right.
from your recollection?
Um, like people that didn't really get too much, yeah, that kind of like quit or maybe just stopped doing it. Guys like Byron from Knuckleheads. Also, he was really innovative with the way he flowed with it, you know. And he was kind of like ahead of his time. When I watch it now, it's like he was almost like a little Vengeance, but with transfers and stuff. But he flowed, you know, he used his feet too, you know, which was something that like at the time it was more like I'm gonna try to keep my feet off the ground the whole time. But he was already moving forward to like, you know, connecting it. Another guy, Graham Shorty Rock, that I was talking to you about. Another guy too named BJ from Rouse, super dope. And of course, you guys know Jin. If you know, Jin was like the most popular, you know, transfer guy I think at a time in Texas. and but he also stopped too. So if he would have kept going, I feel like, you know, he would have still been relevant. You know what I mean? Like,
No doubt. Did you ever get a crack at him?
no, I never got to battle against him, but I was friends with him because I had gone down to Texas. It was like the Havoc Coro, but was it Havoc? I don't know, but man, it must have been like 2001, and went out there and I stayed with Jive Turkeys, and like I, you know, got really cool with all of them. So definitely Jin was like a homie, and then the first time we battled as Super Crew, Jin was part of that too. Jive Turkeys was actually originally one of the crews that was down with Super Crew when we formed that crew.
Wow. I want to get into that super crew, but before I do that, I want to
Yeah,
talk about like the Knucklehead Zoo. So
yeah,
are you one of the founding members of Knucklehead Zoo, or is that a crew you joined?
yeah. No, I'm one of the founding members of Knucklehead Zoo. As far as the whole Knuckleheads, because there's Knuckleheads Cali, how we uh first I had gotten into Knuckleheads, but then we created Knucklehead Zoo to kind of like make our own thing because when we so when I was in high school, uh you know, I was breaking, and then kind of like we just started kind of forming our crew with the people that was in our high school together, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we had like our little squad, we were called Broken Legacy, you know, and be, because we were bringing back the legacy that had been broken of the 80s b-boys in our mind. I don't know.
Right, right, right.
So then two guys come to our school and just show up, and they're from LA. And back then too, you could totally tell everyone's style, like like where they were from, because of the way that they dressed, everything, the way they did their hair.
Yes, kids, we are talking about the regional style era where people knew exactly where you were from as soon as you hit as soon as you hit the door, before you hit the floor. Like
Yeah,
you said, you could tell by dress code, and then once you hit the floor, the way you spoke to the music. Oh, he's from Florida. Oh, he's from
yeah,
California. Oh, he's from Texas. No doubt.
yes. These two guys came, and they were uh, obviously from Cali, you know what I mean? And it was Chris and Kenny. So
Mm,
then, yeah, so then Chris and Kenny moved to Vegas, and then we had been, you know, breaking with them, you know, because we're in the same school, and we became really good friends. And then uh, Kenny was like, "Yo, let's get all you guys in Knuckleheads," you know, because we were Broken Legacy, and they were like Well, Kenny was in Knuckleheads, and Chris was in another crew called like Cab Crew. So then we decided, all right, let's do Knuckleheads, and to make it better, we're gonna do, or not better, but to make it different or our own, we ended up doing Knucklehead Zoo.
wow. See, I never knew that. I always thought Knuckleheads Cali came from Knucklehead Zoo, but it's actually the other way around.
No,
Knucklehead
yeah, other way around.
Knuckleheads. Well, yeah. So when did they become Knuckleheads Cali? Just when you guys became Knucklehead Zoo?
No, they remained as Knuckleheads, but like I think like the first set of squad of Knuckleheads, they kind of didn't really continue. Like some of them kind of quit, um, and then only a few kind of kept going. But then Millhouse was the one that at first he wasn't. He was part of, you know, he was kind of like Chris. He was in the same crew as Chris. He was in Cab Crew, but he was like always with Knuckleheads. And I think Cab Crew fell off. And then when he joined Knuckleheads, um, Cali, as what it is now, um, like he was still a friend of ours. So he would come to Vegas, and he wanted to like get down in the zoo and be a part of the zoo. But then, you know, he couldn't take Vegas. So he ended up leaving within like a month or something.
That
And then
desert heat, man.
yeah, he was back in Cali, and then they started doing Knuckleheads Cali, and you started seeing Knuckleheads Cali more when like Mike the Cure got in the crew from Floorgasms, and then they started like recruiting and building this, you know, what they are now.
Right. Was there ever any rivalry there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like we ended up getting to some beef.
Uh oh.
Like when Mike the Cure got in the crew, Mike the Cure was, you know, he was a little bit just more wild. Like he kind of had the jackass mentality, and he had another guy named Josh that was with them, and they would do all these crazy kind of pranks. And I remember they had came out with this video where like Josh was like butt naked doing air flares, and it was kind of like us at the zoo at that time. We were like not only like trying to see what we could do on the next level of our breaking. Like we wanted to like we started getting into show business too. We were trying to do shows. We were trying to just do more and look professional. You know what I mean? And
right.
Hecha para los que controlan su destino. Para los que con su música crean una experiencia única. Hecha para los que representan lo mejor de aquí. Para los que alcanzan la perfección. Hecha para ti. Medalla Like, el sabor que nos mueve.
So then we ended up like, you know, like I remember, I think it was Ricky like had said something to them like online, like, you know, I don't know if he said something like, you know, mean or whatever. Let's just say that.
No, that.
And then and I remember getting a phone call from like Bert, and then we started going back and forth, and we were talking crap to each other. And it's like, all right, I guess like we weren't cool. And then yeah, so we ended up battling like a few times in Cali whenever we'd see them, and it was cool. To be honest, it was like a legit rivalry, and I think it made us both get better. You know what I mean? We were both like trying to be the better squad, you know?
No doubt.
But we had so much energy, and we just wanted to freaking blow it up. You know, that was our whole thing. It's like we got to hit them blow ups and just blow it up.
Right.
You know? And so we wanted to call them all out, but the only way that we could do it was like.
For more quality content from Beyond the Cypher with Illskillz, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons. Let us know how we're doing in the comment section. And to make sure you don't miss anything from the channel, go ahead and smash that notification bell. We appreciate the love and support so far. So peace until the next episode.